Let me tell you something that still kind of amazes me. For about 100 years, our three rivers weren't where people lived. They were where people worked. It was all smoke and steel and barges and noise, and honestly, you didn't dream about a home by the water back then. You just kind of put up with being near it. Well, that whole idea has flipped completely on its head, because here in 2026, some of the most wanted addresses in all of Western Pennsylvania are the ones looking straight out at the Allegheny, the Monongahela, and the Ohio rivers. A waterfront home in Pittsburgh used to feel like a fantasy, something other cities had. Now it's actually one of the smartest moves that you can make. One of my favorite parts of working with relocation buyers is watching their face the first time they drive into Pittsburgh with all those three rivers. Almost every one of them says, "This is nothing like I expected." That's one of the reasons why I love making these videos, to show you what Pittsburgh is really like before you ever get here. So if you've been dreaming of riverfront living in Pittsburgh, or you're sitting there wondering whether a condo on the water is a brilliant buy or a money pit, stick with me. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly where these new riverfront communities are, what they really cost, and whether jumping in right now is the move or the mistake. Here's something a lot of folks moving here really don't realize. Pittsburgh didn't build on its rivers for the view. It built on them to work. And for generations, that meant the best riverbank land in the whole region was locked up tight behind mills, rail yards, and factories. The rest of us lived up on the hills and looked down at the river. We didn't really get to touch it. I've been helping people buy and sell across Western Pennsylvania for years now, and if you asked me the single biggest change that I've watched happen, this is it. The rivers are reopening to the general public. Those old industrial sites are being cleaned up, rebuilt, and handed back to the folks who actually live here. And let me tell you, the demand is the real deal. A big part of this is something you can go walk on this weekend. According to Friends of the Riverfront, the Three Rivers Heritage Trail now stretches 35 miles along both banks of all three rivers, with roughly 35 more miles in the works, and it draws over 1 million people every year. It even links up with the Great Allegheny Passage, which means that you could technically hop on a bike at Pittsburgh Riverfront condo and ride all the way to Washington, D.C. I've once ridden from Maryland to Pittsburgh. When a home sits on the water with access like that, buyers line up. And that's exactly what makes these neighborhoods so easy to fall in love with, and just as easy to sell down the road. One thing that I've noticed with relocation clients is they're usually looking for a lifestyle as much as they're looking for a home. Walkability, trails, coffee shops, and being able to enjoy the river every day have become huge priorities. And since I'm an avid cyclist, I spend a lot of time on these trails myself, so I can usually recommend the best places to ride, walk, or just enjoy the scenery. So that's the setup. Our rivers are coming back to life. Now, let me show you the project that everybody's talking about. Picture an old industrial bend on the riverfront over in the Chateau neighborhood, right next to the North Shore. For years, it sat there empty, just a vacant brownfield. Today, it's the biggest waterfront story in the whole city. According to Pittsburgh Magazine, the Esplanade officially broke ground in late 2025, and Governor Josh Shapiro called it a game changer for the North Shore. We're talking about a 15-acre, $740 million project from Pitt Companies. And yes, it's got the giant Ferris wheel and that marina that grabbed all the headlines. But here's the part that really matters if you actually want to live there. According to Pittsburgh Magazine, the Esplanade is set to include 126 riverfront condominiums and up to 300 rental apartments in its first phase. And according to the developer's own pre-sale information, sign-ups for those condos are expected to start in 2026, with the residential buildings opening around 2028. So this isn't some far-off someday dream. This is a right-now decision for buyers who want to be first in line. And according to an economic analysis by the Economy League of Greater Pittsburgh, the project is projected to support around 9,300 jobs during construction, then about 4,500 permanent jobs once it's up and running. That tells you the kind of energy and foot traffic headed that way. Now, let me be straight with you, because that's my job. Buying in early on a project like this means buying into a construction zone. There will be cranes, there will be dust, and the timelines will shift around a little. But here's the trade, and it's pretty simple. You take on a bit of patience and uncertainty up front, and in return, you get the lowest pricing and the best units before the cameras ever show up. That's the honest deal. I've already had buyers ask me about the development before construction even began. When people are asking years in advance, that's usually a pretty good sign that they're seeing the long-term potential. But maybe waiting until 2028 just isn't for you. Maybe you want a riverfront home and you can move into a whole lot sooner. Well, good news, because you don't even have to leave the suburbs to find one. Let me take you about 13 miles up the Allegheny River to Oakmont. If you've never been, picture a little town with a real main street, local shops, that famous Oakmont bakery, and homes that have been loved on for 100 years. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Oakmont has only about 6,600 residents, so it truly feels like a small town, not some giant cookie-cutter subdivision. When I show Oakmont to relocation buyers, many of them end up spending much more time there than they had originally planned. They'll grab lunch, walk the business district, stop at Oakmont Bakery, and before long, they're asking to see homes there. Sitting right there on the water is a community called the River's Edge of Oakmont. According to the developer, it's now in its final phase, with waterfront condominiums offering sweeping river views and brownstone homes with private rooftop terraces overlooking the Allegheny. The newest building, called the Brooks, even gives you the choice to buy or to rent, which is honestly pretty rare for the waterfront around here. And when a community hits its final phase, that's your signal. The easy availability is just about gone. Do you want something even more upscale? Let me walk you over to O'Hara Township in the highly rated Fox Chapel School District, to a community called Miramar Landings. According to Redfin listing information, these are luxury riverfront residences along the Allegheny with optional private dock space and even in-home elevator options. This is move up luxury living right on the water, and I'll tell you, a lot of my clients had no idea homes like this even existed around here. So now, what does all this cost? Let me give you the real numbers. According to Redfin, the median home in the city of Pittsburgh sold for roughly $245,000 to $260,000 in the spring of 2026, keeping us among the most affordable major metros in the country. Now, you'll also see Zillow list the typical Pittsburgh home value at closer to $217,000. So why the gap? It's actually simple. Zillow's number is estimates across every single home in the city, while Redfin's number only counts the homes that actually sold, and those tend to be nicer, market-ready ones. Both are useful, just keep in mind that waterfront condos and brownstones in a place like Oakmont sit well above those city limit medians, because river views and brand new construction carry a premium. And that premium, it's the very reason they tend to hold their value so well. So let me circle right back to where we started. The rivers that once meant smoke and steel now mean rooftop decks, dock slips, and morning runs along the trail. We've already walked through the Esplanade on the riverfront and those river townhomes in Allegheny, but I've been saving the part that surprises people the most, which is just how much waterfront value is hiding right outside the city limits in the collar counties. That's the climax here, and it might be the smartest money on this entire list. But before we get there, real quick, if you're even thinking about a move to the greater Pittsburgh area, my team and I have put together a free Pittsburgh Relocation Guide. It breaks down the neighborhoods, the school districts, the cost of living, and the real numbers that you need before you pack a single box. It's 100% free, and the link is in the description below. If you're new here, hi, I'm Diane McConaghy, your local Pittsburgh Realtor and relocation guide. And honestly, helping people land in the right home here is my favorite part of this whole job. Grab that guide, then hurry back, because this next part is where it gets really good. Here's what most relocation videos completely skip over. Allegheny County isn't the only place around here with water. Some of the best lifestyles for your money are sitting just outside of it. One mistake I see people make is limiting their search to Allegheny County. Some of my happiest clients ended up outside the city because they found more house, lower taxes, and a lifestyle that fit them even better, and it was a place near the water. Let me start with Beaver County. It's out west of the city along the Ohio River. The county seat, the borough of Beaver, is so picturesque that filmmakers have actually used its historic Main Street for Hollywood movies, and locals will tell you that it looks like it walked straight out of a Hallmark Christmas card. You've got tree-lined streets, a real downtown, river access, and according to local market reporting from Greater Pittsburgh's new home, Beaver County pulls in buyers in part because of its lower taxes compared to Allegheny County. And for a move-up buyer or a first-time stretching every dollar, that tax difference shows up in your monthly payment month after month after month. River towns like Beaver and nearby Bridgewater are putting real work into revitalizing their main streets, and that's exactly the early stage moment that savvy investors love to catch. Now, let me take you north to Butler County, and this one's a little different because up here the water is a lake, not a river. According to the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Marina State Park is built around Lake Arthur, a 3,200-acre lake with about 42 miles of shoreline that draws more than 1 million visitors a year for boating, sailing, fishing, and swimming. Just imagine your weekends kayaking or sailing 15 minutes from your own front door. According to Redfin, waterfront homes in Butler County recently had a median listing price of around $370,000. And the southern end of the county in Cranberry Township is one of the fastest growing areas in the region, just about 20 minutes from downtown. That mix of lake life and easy access to the city is a powerful draw for families. And please don't sleep on Washington County to the south, down along the Monongahela. The Mon Valley river towns still hold some of the best value pricing that you'll find anywhere near a major metro. And for investors hunting affordable entry points with real long-term upside, those waterfront and waterview properties absolutely deserve a serious look. So here's the big picture across all 4 counties. According to Redfin, statewide Pennsylvania home prices were up about 5.6% year over year in May of 2026, and Western Pennsylvania has stayed steadier and more affordable than the eastern half of the state. So you're buying into appreciation, but without all the wild swings. And honestly, that kind of stability is a gift. Now, before you go falling head over heels, let me put on my honest realtor hat for a minute and talk money. Buying on the water isn't quite the same as buying up on a hillside, and I want you walking in with your eyes wide open, whether you're a buyer, a seller, or an investor. First thing, budget beyond that sticker price. A riverfront or lakefront home can come with a few extra costs that an inland home just doesn't, like flood insurance in certain zones, dock fees if you've got a slip, and a little more upkeep from all that moisture and weather near the water. Now, none of that should scare you off. It just needs to be in your math from day one so nothing catches you by surprise. Always ask whether a property sits in a designated flood zone and get yourself a real insurance quote before you fall in love. Second, let's talk about why these homes hold their value. Waterfront is limited. They're just not making more riverbanks. And when a feature can't be copied, it tends to stay in demand, which is wonderful news when it's your turn to sell. According to longtime Pittsburgh market data, homes here have historically appreciated in steady 4 to 5% range per year, and the scarce view-driven properties usually lead that pack instead of trailing it. This is a conversation that I have with every waterfront buyer before we ever write an offer. I'd much rather my clients understand these costs up front than discover them after closing. Third, a quick word straight to the sellers watching. If you already own something with a river view, a water view, or trail access, that is the genuine selling point, and you should never bury it at the bottom of the listing. In a market where buyers are paying a premium for exactly that, the right marketing for a water view home can be the difference between sitting and selling. If you own one of these homes, don't underestimate how much professional photography, drone footage, and the right marketing can influence buyers. Waterfront homes deserve a different marketing strategy than a typical suburban home. And for my investors out there, the early stage river towns in Beaver and Washington counties, plus all that new construction going up near the Esplanade, that's where the long-term story is being written right now. So let's bring it all home. Pittsburgh's rivers just aren't the city's workplace anymore. They're all becoming becoming the city's front porch. Right on the riverfront, the $740 million Esplanade is bringing condos, apartments, and a whole new riverfront destination, with pre-sales kicking off in 2026. Up the Allegheny River, towns like Oakmont and O'Hara already have move-in ready waterfront homes in their final phases. And just outside Allegheny County, Beaver and Butler in Washington counties are offering charming river towns, lake living out on a Lake Arthur, lower taxes, and some of the best value that you'll find near any big city in the country. The numbers from Redfin, Zillow, and the state all point in the very same direction. This region is steady, affordable, and quietly turning its waterfronts into most sought-after real estate. So here's what I really want you to take away from all of this. A home on the water used to feel completely out of reach for regular people in Pittsburgh. Well, it isn't anymore. Whether your dream is a condo with a rooftop deck on the river, a brownstone with your own dock, or a lake house 20 minutes from downtown, that life is genuinely possible right here and at prices that would make a buyer on either coast fall right out of their chair. Whether you're moving from across the country or just across town, my goal is always to help you make a smart move, not simply buy a house. If you have questions about neighborhoods, schools, commute times, or which waterfront community fits your lifestyle, I'd be happy to help. If you'd like a hand figuring out which riverfront or waterfront community fits your budget, your timeline, and the life that you're trying to build, just reach out to me directly. My contact information is right below this video, and walking people through this is honestly exactly what I love doing. And don't forget to grab that free Pittsburgh Relocation guide down in the description while you're here. If waterfront is the dream, but you're still building your way toward it, go watch this one next. Pittsburgh, PA's most affordable and high-value neighborhoods in 2026. For first-time home buyers, I'm Diane McConaghy, your local Pittsburgh Realtor and Relocation Guide. Give this video a like, thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.